Agent Molt in Light Duties, Part 3. Molt checks into a travel lodge. He finds an empty room, marks it with a privacy glyph, then marks a random hallway door with a redirect glyph. He opens the hallway door, it opens into his protected room. Standard fieldcraft. Imperative when the department protected their budget like it was their own personal nest egg. He sleeps but has uneasy dreams. The ghosts have been following him since yesterday pop up. Jin Gel's dead pigeon tries to tell him something. Even in sleep he obeys protocol and tells it to sling its beak. He wakes in the morning feeling annoyingly good. The train magic had settled in his gut overnight, leaving him with that rarest of sensations, a stomach behaving itself. He didn't trust it. He guessed the next train jump would result in it feeling rotten again. He dismissed the privacy glyph off the inside of the door. It faded away. The redirect glyph on the random hallway door fizzled out politely as he passed. Outside, the morning was damp, grey and full of judgment. A cat sat on the low wall by the car park, staring at him with the flat, unblinking intensity of a creature that absolutely knew what he really looked like under the glamour. Molt muttered to himself. Cats always see through glamours, so a wizard among the normal mammals would pique their interest, but he can never be sure if this cat was a normal one, or a normal one spying for Homo felinus, or it could be the worst kind, a Homo felinus pretending to be a normal one. The cat flicked its tail in a way he didn't like. He was convinced that you could tell a Homo felinus in disguise by its tail swish, but he never had enough data to be sure. He moved on. Next stop, Norwich Cathedral, site of a medieval misery sump. The train transport jump did set his ailing stomach back a bit, but thankfully not too badly, and it settled after he crunched some snails he found on a garden wall for breakfast. The sump felt active the moment he stepped onto the roof. Cold air, a faint hum. He placed a filter cone onto it and watched it fill up with misery gloop at a rapid rate. From the emerging vapours, the ghosts from yesterday were gathered again. The Jin Gel with her pigeon corpse, the Botonic Mutterer, the Viking who still thought Molt was a dragon, the naked Roman bather, waggling his distasteful ape genitalia at him. A whole spectral conga line. He dispersed them with his usual lines of banishment. No gin today! Piss off! The Latin phrase meaning return to the underworld, and yes, Komodo dragon on my mother's side. And then a plague monk drifted out of the stonework like a damp bedsheet with opinions. The monk raised a dripping hand and intoned, Dominus vos bisque. Molt held up a finger. And also with you. Now Vobby scram, please. The monk evaporated with a sound like a disappointed sigh. Crick. A thin crack split the lead flashing under his feet. He noted it. Just another sump failing. Not good. Next up was Hadrian's Wall, a Roman military sump. Molt alighted at Hawkwhistle Station, a good 2 to 3 miles away from the wall central section where the sump resided. His stomach seemed to behave itself post-jump, which pleased him no end. The wind was vicious up here, the kind that tried to exfoliate you. Molt clutched his trench coat to him and trudged along top of the wall, checking his scroll for the exact coordinates. It started to drizzle. Molt sighed. Being cold-blooded could be a real chore sometimes. Lucky he'd lived in Britain all his life, so he was used to it by now. If he got too chilly, he had a spell for that. He got to the wall. There were no tourists around, so he ran up the side to the top. He affixed the cone, and it started its work, filtering out the sump residue, collecting the nasty muck. As the wisps arose, his now familiar coterie of ghostly barnacles appeared and were dispatched one by one. Jingel, Tribal Briton, Berserker, Roman Streaker. This time, a new spirit didn't manifest. He took that as a good sign. He stuffed the used cone into his duffel bag and descended the wall. There was no crick this time either. He hoped whatever the anomaly was had sorted itself. That did happen sometimes, when the stars were no longer right or something like that. Then the air thickened, the ground shook. Then an entire legion appeared. Shields, swords, formation, 1,000 ghostly boots hitting the earth in perfect rhythm, all marching straight at him. He sized them up in an instant. Most ghosts are insubstantial, but these looked to be solid. Molt made a noise he would later deny and scrambled straight up the nearest section of wall like a startled gecko. From the top he shouted, "Jog on, all of you!" The legion vanished like someone had switched them off. Only one figure remained, the lead centurion, staring up at Molt with the weary authority of a man who had commanded armies and now had to deal with this. The centurion saluted him. Molt saluted back with 2 fingers. "Victoriam off!" he urged. The spectre vanished. Crick. A crack split the ancient stone. He logged it, moved on. Next stop, Salisbury Station for a Stonehenge prehistoric ritual sump. He had to wait for night to fall to avoid the tourists. He settled in the Wetherspoons pub, the King's Head Inn, for steak night. Some mammal food wasn't bad. He got unlimited refills on the tea too. Looking out the window, he saw a couple of smart gentlemen in suits emerge from behind a tree. They folded up their umbrellas and marched up the street with purpose. They wore bowler hats and had plant emblems on their suit pockets. He knew they were agents from the Department of People Who Deal with This Sort of Thing, the human organisation that kept the Eldritch menaces from ravaging humanity. Ghosts, ghouls, monsters, basically anything that should not be, they tried to make it so it didn't be. Their emblems marked them as Agents Fern and Thistle. Good reputations, solid work, different magic, a very similar remit. He'd worked with them before, capable folks. Their witch tea was to die for. He was given a thermos once from their head tea witch and it did the trick no end. He wondered if he could get her to brew something up for his stomach troubles. Molt slipped out to follow but stayed well back. Professional courtesy and envy. He would kill for umbrella transport. His department barely got train vouchers. He saw them enter a premises nearby and put up the closed sign. After an hour, they left with a tray full of jars. The shop owner waved them off, clutching a mug in his hand. Standard DPWD-WTST procedure. Contain the problem and placate the witnesses with magic tea that left them open to suggestion. Molt could tell by the amount of jars that there had been a pretty big infestation of something. His money was on ghosts. He wouldn't be surprised if someone in their precognition department hadn't tipped them off. Fern glanced his way. Thistle gave a polite nod. They'd clocked him. Clever mammals. Not as clever as the cats, of course, but pretty smart. Molt nodded back, pretending he wasn't jealous. He kept walking. That night, he strolled up to the standing stones. The trilithon hummed like a tuning fork. Molt approached cautiously, coat pulled tight against the wind. The cone did its business, leaching out the darkness from the stored spirit residue. His now usual retinue of ghosts emerged, now including the Roman centurion, thankfully not the whole cohort. He ignored them as usual, just giving the standard refusal line that normally dispelled them. This time, they just carried on looking at him. No trace of whispering away. Molt cast a small prayer to Syphilis. Just then, a bunch of Neolithic ancestor spirits rose from the ground in a swirl of dust and old magic. They rumbled at him in a language older than language, gesturing insistently toward the slab in the centre of the circle of stones. Molt's nictitating eyelids blinked sideways. He backed away. His vision senses realised that these ghosts would be visible in the human spectrum. This was escalating. A visible manifestation of this magnitude wasn't quite unprecedented, but it was bloody rare. No chanting, no circles, and definitely no bloody sacrifices. No thank you, he said. The spirits sagged, disappointed, and dissolved into the air. Only one, their leader, remained behind. It was now more ethereal though, back to being only visible to those who had the sight. Crick! A hairline crack appeared in the lintel stone. He noted it. His scales prickled. He trudged off. Behind him, the ghost procession followed. Ginny, the tribesman, the Viking, the monk, the centurion, and the prehistoric spirit, all drifting after him like a very confused parade. Go on, Jin! Something was building. He used glyphs to occupy an empty room in the King's Head Inn. He sat filling out his scroll report. Noisy spirits circled around him. He'd given up trying to dispel them now. He reported on the day's business. Some activity increasing. 3 new cricks logged. Ghost accumulation continues. All previous manifestations now following, plus new additions. DPWD-WTST agents Fern and Thistle sighted handling possibly ghost-related civilian incident. The cats might be watching. Might just be cats. Might be Homo philinus interest. For Syphilis' sake, send me some bloody ghost begone spray. That night, he slept in a salt circle, just to be on the safe side.